Lost in Translation.
Frozone.
Where is my super suit? I put it away!
Incredibles, a great film. Not an indie film, however. Lost in Translation is an indie film, and that's what I'm going to be talking about in this vlog. Lost in Translation, starring Bill Murray as Bob Harris and Scarlett Johansson as some I cannot remember the name of. This film is about Bill Murray especially, and a little bit of a side story about Scarlett Johansson in Japan, in Tokyo. And Bill Murray is this big shot actor, semi-washed up, called Bob Harris, and he's in Japan to do this whiskey commercial / advert. Along the way in Tokyo, you can sense in the film, he's kind of forcing his happiness in this film. He goes on this game show in which you can tell his heart's not really in it, but he just wants to do it. You can sense he doesn't really want to do that for the money, he wants to do it for another reason, be that he wants to create some happiness or not, but this is before he truly comes to fully introduce himself to Scarlett Johansson's character, who also is a young married woman who has a boyfriend who's a photographer and is doing a shoot in Tokyo, and she's just along for the ride. They meet each other and they kind of create some happiness. They are the source of each other's happiness. They make each other a happier person in this short trip to Tokyo. First thing out the gates, as soon as we started this film, me and James, was we established that we think this film is either very subliminally racist, but it's still right in your face. To give you an example, stereotypically, there is this thought that Asian people and Japanese people are very small in comparison to Caucasian Europeans and Americans. But that's not the only example, because we see this in the lift or the elevator that's shot in such a way that Bill Murray and Scarlett Johansson kind of tower above these Japanese people on their commute to work. But yes, this is not the only example. We see Bill Murray have to adjust the shower head, which was kind of up to his mid-chest. That isn't such an exaggeration. And further still, he only adjusts it a good only 5 inches taller, so he still has to duck under it, but there's plenty of room above for him to raise it higher. But we think this is intentional to kind of really push that casual racism right in your face. There's more and more examples through the film where Bill Murray has to duck to look through the peephole in the door, and the fact that when he is shooting this whiskey commercial, the director seems to be talking lines upon lines upon lines of dialogue, and Bill Murray's translator from Japanese to English seems to translate it in 2 or 3 word sentences, and Bill Murray is just lost in the scene. Bob Harris, he is gone to the world, he has no idea what's going on, and his heart's not really in the commercial. Overall, in comparison to a film produced by any of the big 6, as an indie film, I think they've done well to land 2 rather large, nowadays anyway. Bill Murray was a big name then, maybe Scarlett Johansson a little less, but Bill Murray still is rather a big household name in that role, for an indie film especially. So in the cast, you can kind of see that that's sort of similar to a film produced by one of the major corporations, but I don't think that, unless they were very careful about it, or they have a very well-known director who can sort of get away with it, I don't think the casual racism would be that in your face. I think, as it's an indie film, they have an excuse to get away with it. Again, similar to Clerks, the ending does not have a definitive sort of finish to it. It leaves on a kind of a note where we're not sure what happens. We don't know whether Scarlett Johansson's character sorts her life out with her new husband, or Bill Murray goes home and sorts his life out with his husband, his wife and children back in the United States, we presume. So that seems to be a recurring theme, especially in these two indie films, maybe in 13 as well. We don't see what happens to Tracy, or we don't see what happened to the other one. Zoe. But yeah, either that's just coincidence in these three indie films, or that's a sort of thing that seems to reoccur in these indie films. I'm not sure, but yes, I enjoyed the film. The title Lost in Translation does seem to connote to the film, which also seems to be a kind of theme. Lost in Translation has a deeper meaning in this film. It has a meaning underlying the sort of in Bill Murray's character's life. That he's not only lost in translation with these Japanese people directing him, he's lost in translation with his life and with the world. But yes, I shall see you in one of my other videos.